Welcome back to the sweatshop. In today's video, we're going to be working on this 2012 Subaru Impreza. What we're going to be doing in today's video is showing you how to replace the front brakes on this Impreza. This is definitely not a hard job, but something that can be a hard job if you're in the Rust Belt. So hopefully you watch the full-length video and jot down all my tips and tricks. Before you go ahead and do the brakes, it is advised that you get good pads and rotors. You don't want to get yourself crappy stuff. The cheapest stuff is not usually the best stuff. Make sure you get yourself at a minimum coated rotors and a brand name pad. I like the Bosch stuff. It seems to work really well for the majority of applications that we service here in the shop. And I've never had to this point actually a complaint with the Bosch. So yeah, nonetheless, do your research on whatever it is you're going to get and make sure you get some quality stuff so you're not doing your brakes every 6 months. Of course, if you are going to attempt this job, do not be stupid. Don't crawl around underneath your car without safety stands. If you're going to get underneath your car without jack stands, that is a recipe for disaster. This is going to be a shorter version of a video. I'm not going to be showing you every minute of every step here in the video. I'm going to be showing you the before and after shots of what you need to do. Of course, I will be giving you the torque specs, but make sure you check out the correct torque specs for your particular application. That being said, before we get started with today's video, do me a big favor, hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell so you never miss one of my new videos. Now, let's put this thing up in the air. I'm going to be doing the right side first because I'm going to be doing a bearing on the left side later. So I'll be showing you everything on the right side of the vehicle today. Fire off that wheel. You'll need a 19 mil. In my case, I got one of them specialty sockets. So yeah, tuner lugs, baby. Get yourself a flat screwdriver. You're going to stick it in between the caliper and the rotor and slowly pry back. That'll tell you two things: how much you're potentially going to cry because of a seized caliper bracket or pistons. Hopefully the pistons aren't seized, because if they are, well, that means a caliper, and they're usually pretty damn expensive. But anywhere from $100 to $200 are most calipers on most vehicles. And well, yeah, nobody's rich in Canada if you're working, you know, like a regular job, because, well, government's like a thief in the night, just constantly stealing our money in taxes. Anyhow, go ahead, fire off these 14 mils. Yeah, that's seized. Up top here, just be careful with the holes. Go ahead, lift your caliper out of the way. You can tie it up with a bungee cord or just rest it off on the CV or control arm. Make sure you're careful with it, of course. Get a 17 mil on an extension. Make sure you get these guys on all the way. This car comes from, I think, Newfoundland, the customer was saying, and it's, Jesus Christ, it's rotted. Wow. Oh, I don't know. Looks like some fucking animal put this goddamn thing on. Anyhow, let's get this off then. All right, get a 2-foot 1/2-inch ratchet and try that shit all over again. There we go. God damn. Yeah, that's either rust tight or over torqued by Monkey Mechanic. See if we can get this guy on here. No, we need our extension. In case you're wondering, there is a specialty tool. You can always get around with just a combination of extensions and sockets of the appropriate type. So yeah, don't want to give all your money to the Snap-on man. Even if you wanted to, you can't, because the tax man's there to grab it from you. Try the 4-inch extension, because if that one at the bottom was so tight, well, this guy up here is probably gonna be as tight. Oh, baby. No, that's not good for Jimmy. It's not an awkward position for me. Let's get this 12 point on there. See if we can't get this guy to go. Sometimes you want to go the opposite way just to get the stupid thing to start moving, because once you get it to start moving, it tends to cooperate a little bit. Now they're both loose, so we can get our gun on it and wrestle it out, but let's just get the ratcheting in for the top one. It's hard to get the flex socket on there sometimes. Should be good enough now. It looks like a combination of rust tight and over torque. That's not so much rust. Hold that bracket. And there we go. Now go ahead, grab this rotor, yank it off. On this side, I'll be showing you how to clean it. Luckily, I won't have to do that on the other side, which makes me very happy deep down inside. Okay, so our caliper bracket is in pretty poor shape. This guy here, by the grace of God, it still moves, which is nice. However, this guy, not so much. And yeah, we're gonna end up replacing that. That looks horrible. Ugh. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Okay, well, let's go ahead and yeah, they're both pretty bad. Oh man. So this is what happens when you don't put grease where it needs to be. Like you see here, it's not much of anything. It's just rust. Now this could happen with grease as well. Just depends on how much salt or how well it's cleaned. The boots look okay. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Anyhow, let's go ahead, try to get this guy free. You're gonna get yourself a vice grip and basically try to work this guy back and forth. If not, heat's gonna be your best friend. Oh, not terrible. It's not the worst. So we might be able to salvage this. We'll see. Oh, that's a wiper blade. Okay, so yeah, that's one of the issues. I guess whoever didn't want to deal with that's pretty corroded. So it looks like we're going to end up getting hardware for the sliders as well as the boot because it's missing. So yeah, one of the reasons as to why these things sort of seize is it needs that stupid little rubber. It does two things. It stops little odd noises and it makes it more of a smoother ride. And then with the rubber, it helps with not having this portion dig in to the bore. That wasn't really a concern for the last person, I believe. In case you're wondering what kind of symptoms you get when you have a pad or slider that seizes in place, it's uneven wear. So you can see there on the one side, that side, we have a lot more pad as compared to here. Nonetheless, this is gonna suck because it's gonna put me behind now. I've got other stuff to do and I can't do the other side without doing the bearing because I don't really want to do double the work. Anyhow, I'll be back. Well, as we sit here and wait for these parts to come in, because we're praying to God we replace these things and I don't have the wrong parts come in, we can do some more work by pulling off these wonderful shims. Of course, you don't want to mix them up. On these ones, it's extremely hard to mix it up unless you're blind in both eyes. Basically, this guy here goes on that side. Don't screw it up. It's on the bottom side of the pad carrier when you put it back on the car. What you want to do now is basically grind off all the rust in here. You want to bring it down to a nice shiny metal surface without removing any of the material. So that guy there should be debris free before you go ahead and coat it. This is the result you should end up with. A part that is basically rust free. As you can see there, we still have a bit of crap in the top there, but you want to get rid of all of that sort of rust. And I'll take you over the bench and I'll show you exactly what tools you need to do it. If you're going to be replacing the boots, same sort of thing. The most pivotal part is to make sure that that section there, or close to where my thumb is completely rust free. That way you don't have any rust coming back when you spray paint it right away. And that way you also have an airtight gap so that you don't get any moisture forming in the board and causing rust, because rust is a pain in our ass. Now, once you get all the rust cleared off, you're going to go ahead and give it a nice coat of paint. This is the stuff that I use here. It's Well Through Primer. Does a good job of keeping the rust away as well as drying really quickly, which makes my life a lot quicker. That being said, you're going to need a whole host of tools to get rid of the rust. This is going to be one of your best friends. One of these guys are in various sizes and files in various types. It'll make your life considerably easier. You're also going to need a drill bit. Why, you may ask? Well, you're going to drill a hole out here to make sure there's no gunk and debris or rubber left. It is a 25/64 size drill bit. Once you get your kits, for the rubber boots, this is the part number there. I don't know if that one will work, but that's the part number for the rubber kit, and you get both sides. I don't know why they don't sell the goddamn pins as a pair for both sides, but anyhow, that's the kit number. You're gonna split this guy open, slide your rubber in, which I just dropped. You're gonna slide that guy over. Can put a little bit of oil, however, you don't want any on the back here because it just makes it more prone to moving around, and that's a pain in your ass. You just slide that guy over, form a seal, and god damn it, this one's pretty tight. Come on, baby. It's one of those jobs that seems easier than it is, but it ain't. It's a pain in the ass. Okay, but you don't want this guy moving around. With the lubricity of any sort of lubricant, it will, and that can cause a headache for you. Of course, don't mix your pins up. Make sure you put them in the appropriate hole. We might actually end up using this hardware here just because these guys here, this guy goes toward the caliper. Same sort of technique. You just want to slide it over. You can grease this. That's actually what I'm going to do because it's going to make my life easier. Anyhow, so grease this area here. Make sure you grease these pins nicely, put them on, and then after these guys dry, I'll show you how to put the clips on because that's a little bit of a trick. And then we will see you back soon. Now, make sure you grease it up nicely. Make sure you put a little bit of extra lube at the top, like a nipple sort of thing, and then put some around the actual rubber piece so that way you get a nice seal. And you want to make sure you put some more around the collar of this wonderful guide pin so that this thing makes a nice seal. All right, then push it into the hole. And you can see there we got some spring back. That means we have compression or a good seal. Just let it out by moving the rubber piece up, and that's that. Now we're good to go. Get your hardware. What you're gonna do is take your wonderful clip, slide it into place. Be gentle with it. Make sure it clips in without any sort of hindrance. Okay, now what you're gonna do is get yourself a flat screwdriver and just push this guy in. So there you go, we have a problem. Right here you can see that is not holding. So we're gonna have to rip this guy back off and modify it to sit properly. So what you're gonna do is simply get a vice grip and just bend that tab just a little bit. Do it to both sides, okay? And that should remedy the issue. I think I might have bent it too much. Nope, I did the right fucking thing. Good job, Jimmy. Now, get a flat screwdriver, and you're gonna do this to both sides. You're gonna push this guy down to make sure that it's sitting nicely. That way, you can ensure it's not gonna come into contact with our rotor. Of course, it would help if I actually did it on camera. So those two pins there, just push them down to make sure that they're sitting nicely. And of course, make sure they're not moving or gonna come apart easy. Same thing with this guy here. Just push that down like so. Make sure it's sitting nice and flat and we don't have any issues that tissues won't solve. Now, get your grease and give it a nice healthy dose. You don't want so much so that it ends up on your rotor. And you don't want too little so that it's dry when you go to service it. Yeah, we gotta get a little more. That is the result that you want. Okay, I'm gonna go finish up the other side of this caliper bracket and then I'll see you back. Okay, for the hub, not much we can do with that nut. That's pretty much screwed. But we got to have a nice flat surface here to put our rotor on. So what we need to do is make sure we get rid of all the crud, corrosion, and crap that's on this thing, and then we'll douse it in anti-seize. Now, as for those wonderfully tight bolts that we had to take off for our caliper, these guys here, it was a combination of retardation strength from a shitty mechanic and rust tight. Of course, you can help the rust tight, you can't help the mechanic. Go ahead, grab a drill bit, which is the appropriate size. In my case here, it was a 31/64 bit that I used in order to drill out this hole here. Don't you just love standard sizes? It makes so much sense in my head. Anyhow, drill it out, then you're gonna douse these holes with anti-seize and prep it to receive your caliper and rotor. You should end up with a result like this, where it's nice and anti-seized. You can see some anti-seize in the hole there. Now take your wonderful rotor and place it on the car. Push it into place. Don't worry, that's normal. Now grab your caliper bracket. All right, go ahead, grab your wonderful caliper bracket. Make sure you've anti-seized the bolts. They should look something like this here. You're gonna slide this onto your caliper bracket while supporting your rotor at the same time. That way you can catch the bolts without cross-threading them. Always catch the bolts by hand, because if you run it up with a gun and cross-thread it, you will cry yourself to sleep. You just need to catch it by hand. You can run it up with a gun. That's completely fine. It's just, I don't know. I did a good job tapping it. In case you're wondering, I tapped it with a M12 by 1.25 pitch die. Kind of try to rush along this job, but it ain't going so quickly for Jimmy, unfortunately. It's just the joys of Canada. What you're gonna do is grab your 17 mil and just thread this guy up by hand. Make sure you have a torque wrench, because not torquing stuff is stupid. See how nice the bolts work when you actually do some maintenance and clean shit up and all that wonderful stuff. But you know, why would you do that if you're a mechanic who's getting paid flat rate, right? Yeah. And then I get forced to compete with clowns like that at the dealership. So much fun. Grab your torque wrench, set it to 59 foot-pounds or 80 newton meters. In case you're wondering how to retract your caliper, what you're going to do, of course, is use a C-clamp like this. That is the absolute easiest thing. Of course, there are specialty tools that are made to do this sort of job. I'm just too old to goddamn invest in them anymore. So yeah, maybe sometime in the future when I'm not being raped and pillaged for every penny in taxes. Get yourself a flat screwdriver. You can see here we have really no build up on this side, but just a bit. So what you need to do is sneak in here with your screwdriver, lift the seal, and allow the air in that boot to come out. The reason why this is important is because you want your brake pads to sit nicely without coming into contact with your boot. You can see on this one here, it will come into contact and tear the boot. If that happens, you will end up with a wonderful leak. Why is this not escaping right now? I'm confused. Come on, guy. What's your deal, guy? Should be pumping some air out. When in doubt, get your awl and stick that shit in there, because I'm confused right now. I don't know why this is not working. Be very gentle. There you go. See that? Stupid goddamn thing. It's an extra tight seal of some sort. But I hope my hand wasn't in the way to block that shot, because it was a really nice one. Let's get this guy out of there. Yeah, there we go. That is what your seals should look like. They should be level with the piston, and make sure they don't come into contact with the caliper when you slide it over. Push your rotor into place, and then make sure your pads are nice and together, like so, and then slide your caliper home. Make sure your sliders aren't in the way. Go ahead, take your new hardware and place it into the caliper. Always thread it up by hand, never thread them up with a gun initially. Always a bad idea. Yeah. Grab your torque wrench, set it to 20 foot-pounds or 27 newton meters. Also, make sure this guy is in its natural position. You do not want this thing tied up or jumbled up somehow. It can make your brakes malfunction horribly, and nobody wants that. Get your wheel. Ah, goddamn. Push it into the hub and thread these guys up by hand. Grab your gun, force the wheel into the hub. Grab your torque wrench, set it to 90 foot-pounds or 120 newton meters. That's a thumbs up for me. That's all she wrote for this one. The most important step now is to go ahead and make sure you pump the brakes before you take this thing for a test drive. After touching the brakes, it is the most important step. If you don't pump the brakes, chances are you're going to smash something that you don't want to. After pumping the brakes, make sure that the pedal gets hard underneath your foot. When it does, you can go ahead, take the thing for a test drive, and make sure all is well in Subaru land. That being said, hopefully you found the video entertaining as well as informative. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss one of my new videos. And as always, thanks for watching. We will see you in the next one. What we're doing in today's video is we're going to be replacing the front fucking cocksucker compressor, son of a bitch. Welcome back. What we're doing in today's video is we're going to be replacing the front rotors and pads on this thing. I don't know why I said on this thing. Man, it is hard to live stress-free in this fucking dump of a country. God damn it. Not one fucking tax, it's another tax. This is bullshit. Anyhow, of course, I'll be showing you what to look for, and hopefully you don't have the same rust belt issues as I do up here. But if you do, don't worry. You'll have lots of tips and tricks from me on what to do. I'm just rambling on. And of course, your next step is going to be to do me big. And your next step, of course, what an idiot, Jimmy. God damn, so much. I'm just overly stressed. I got so many fucking bills after working my ass off. And, you know, yeah, our wonderful CRA piece of shit government's coming knocking on the door for more money. Fuckers. Of course, do me a big favor. There's that fucking compressor again. I should just do this whole fucking clip over again. We're not going to be showing, I'm not going to, about 100. Come on, get on there, you little prick. At the grace of... That compressor just fucking shut off, and it's on again. Unbelievable. Get your guide pins. Guide pins? Oh, stupid. Oh, there's so much shit to do. Yeah, it never fucking ends. What you're gonna do is take your wonderful guide pin, this fucking thing. But we gotta have a nice flat service. So we're Jesus Christ. 13/64. No. 30. All right, I'll show you the after and before. I don't know why I said after and before, because this is the fucking before, but whatever. This clip is going to the bloopers now. I don't know where my 17 mil is right now. I have to find it. Oh fuck, it's on my gun. Oh, this guy's fucking batteries are dead too. I forgot to bring them yesterday. Son of a bitch. Okay, shut up. I know you're fucking dead. Fuck off. This thing's like a fucking battery whore. Fucking cocksucker. And if you have non-centering or... That's all she wrote for this one. The most important step now is to make sure you... It's fucking drifting. Stop drifting, you fucking pile of shit. After pumping the brakes, make sure that the fucking hoist trying to make noise in the background like shit, motherfucker. God damn. Do me big...